Former President Donald Trump is back in the headlines, and this time, it's with a familiar target in his sights, Iran. Trump issued a stark warning, threatening unprecedented bombing if Tehran refuses to engage in nuclear talks. This rhetoric, delivered during a phone interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, is set to air on Meet the Press. While the specifics of what triggered this latest tirade remain unclear, Trump's statement has once again thrust U.S.-Iran relations into the global spotlight. The international community is no stranger to Trump's penchant for strongman tactics and his history of inflammatory rhetoric towards Iran. His surprise 2018 withdrawal from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, better known as the Iran nuclear deal, cast a long shadow over subsequent attempts at diplomatic engagement. The lack of context surrounding Trump's latest pronouncements raises more questions than answers. Did something specific provoke this outburst, or is it merely another attempt to grab headlines? The timing of his statement is crucial. Understanding the current state of U.S.-Iran relations is essential to gauge the severity of Trump's threat. Without further information, it's impossible to discern whether Trump's warning represents a genuine escalation or simply more of the same bombast. What is clear, however, is that his words carry weight, particularly among those who view military action against Iran as a viable option. Iran, for its part, has responded to Trump's saber-rattling with a mix of defiance and cautious diplomacy. While categorically rejecting any possibility of direct negotiations with the United States, Tehran has signaled its willingness to engage indirectly. This stance was conveyed through a letter delivered via Oman, a country that has often acted as an intermediary between the two adversaries. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, known for his hardline stance, has maintained a consistent position on the nuclear issue. He insists that Iran's nuclear program is purely for peaceful purposes and has repeatedly called for the lifting of crippling U.S. sanctions. Raisi's government, grappling with a battered economy and internal dissent, is walking a tightrope. The question now is whether Iran will be willing to bend to Trump's demands, particularly under the pressure of a 2-month deadline. The details of this deadline and the specific demands outlined in Trump's letter remain shrouded in secrecy. This lack of transparency only adds to the uncertainty surrounding the situation. The international community is left to decipher mixed signals and speculate about the potential consequences of inaction. Trump's latest warning comes as no surprise to those familiar with his maximum pressure campaign against Iran. This policy, implemented during his first term, aimed to cripple Iran's economy and force its leaders back to the negotiating table. While the strategy did inflict significant pain on ordinary Iranians, it failed to achieve its ultimate objective. The economic devastation wrought by sanctions has fueled resentment towards the United States and empowered hardline voices within Iran. Many argue that Trump's aggressive approach only served to strengthen Iran's resolve and push the country further down the path of nuclear development. The Biden administration, while critical of Trump's handling of the Iran nuclear issue, has yet to articulate a clear path forward. Indirect talks aimed at reviving the JCPOA have stalled, and the window for diplomacy seems to be narrowing with each passing day. As tensions escalate, the risk of miscalculation grows. A single misstep could ignite a conflict with far-reaching consequences for the entire region. The international community watches with bated breath as the US and Iran lock horns once again. The stakes are high and the potential consequences of a miscalculation are too dire to contemplate. The specter of a nuclear-armed Iran looms large, threatening to upend the already volatile power dynamics of the Middle East. European powers, once parties to the JCPOA, have urged both sides to exercise restraint and return to the negotiating table. They argue that diplomacy, however fraught, remains the only viable path to preventing a catastrophic conflict. Russia and China, both wary of U.S. influence in the region, have condemned Trump's actions and called for a peaceful resolution. Their involvement, however, is complicated by their own strategic interests and their complex relationships with both Iran and the United States. The world is holding its breath, waiting to see how this latest chapter in the U.S.-Iran saga unfolds. Will cooler heads prevail, or are we hurtling towards another avoidable conflict in a region already ravaged by war? The answer for now remains elusive.